Here is a short video that will show you how to create a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. For those of you that don't know, a pivot table is a tool that's built into Excel that allows the user to summarize large amounts of information, large amounts of data, I should say, into summarized chunks of information based on the user's specified criteria. They're great for culling through large amounts of data in a spreadsheet and making a short, simple answer. So let's take a look at how to create one. Here is a sample database that lists sales by month, by agent, and the commission each agent made for their sales. In order to create a pivot table, you have to highlight this data. Let's take a step back. Your source data cannot have any spaces in between the columns. Sometimes you'll see a spreadsheet that instead of formatting by opening up or closing the column and playing with the column width, you see people will insert, or you see some users insert columns in order for spacing in between the data for use when they print it. If your source data has spaces between the column headers, you need to delete them. Once you delete them and you have a continuous string of data, you could highlight that data, or a shortcut is to click on one cell within that table and hit Control Star. Control Star is a shortcut that covers all of that, or highlights all of the data in the array. Once you do that, you click on Insert and Pivot Table. The pivot table will read the source or the range as our highlighted information. You could also link to external data, and it asks you where the pivot table is to be placed. You could put it in a new worksheet, or you could put it within the existing worksheet. For our example, we're going to keep it in the existing worksheet. Once we click that, you click within this location bar, and then you could highlight in your spreadsheet where you want the results to be placed once you finish with the wizard. You hit OK. It brings you to a pivot tables field column here, and from this location you could create your reports. So let's create a sample report in which we want to find total sales by sales agent and have each agent in a separate column and their sales underneath. So what we do is we highlight this sales agent, we left click, and we drag it into the columns box down below. We then highlight the sales amount and we drop it into the values box. And as you can see, as we're doing that, a pivot table or a summarized report shows up within our specified field in the original spreadsheet. And you can see the column labels, Jane, Jim, John, and Sue, and a grand total, but with unformatted numbers. If we wanted to format these numbers, we simply click this drop-down box, hit Value Field Settings. We could actually change the header. We could change whether we want it to count or to sum. But every time you click that, you'll have to change the custom name. So let's leave sum. And we'll name it sales by agent. And then you could also format the numbers by clicking on this number format and formatting like you would any normal cell. So let's leave it as a number, red negative with a comma spacer and 2 decimal points. Once we do that, we hit OK. We hit OK again, and you can see that our pivot table has been updated. Sales by agent, our numbers are now formatted. It gives us a grand total. The only thing we would have to do is then just highlight this, go to our home screen, highlight the agent's names,